So this was interesting. I had not heard of this. And this isn't brand new, but since I had just heard of it, it was brought to my attention about a Beavis and Butt-head prototype arcade game from Atari that came out in the late 90s, or was planned to be in the late 90s. This was going to be a beat-em-up, and Galloping Ghost, which I think you've been there?
Yeah, Galloping Ghost is just outside of Chicago.
One of the most famous arcades in the U.S.
Yes, they have hundreds and hundreds of games, many of which are very, very rare or basically one of a kind. They have one of 2 known Primal Rage 2 prototype boards, and you can go and fucking play it. Ooh. They are the type of place that will, like, with the blessing of the company, make a Mortal Kombat 10 arcade machine, even though there wasn't one, so that tournament players can play it on an actual arcade machine. They're, I think, at this point, the only place in the U.S. that has the F-Zero arcade game with the moving cockpit.
Whoa, I don't know if I've ever seen that before.
I played it, and it's fun as hell just to say you did it once.
So they acquired this. I think they only made about 15 of these. Arcade units. This one is number 9 on the back of it. I think MTV has one. I'm not sure where the other ones are. It was 1996. It's built on 3DO hardware, so it's basically a 3DO game. Excuse me, 9 of 12. They made 12 of these. It's a beat-up. When you first look at it, it sort of looks like, I guess the closest comparison would be like a Simpsons arcade beat-em-up.
Sure.
But it's drawn in the same style, the same way Simpsons is drawn in the same style. This is drawn in Beavis and Butt-head style. Looks like there's some mini games in there. The YouTube video of it is pretty badly shot, but I think Galloping Ghost is going to put out their own gameplay and full playthrough of it, which would be great. But it looks like it was mostly completed, which is interesting. There's one stage they show where to beat them up, you actually go vertically up with Beavis there, which is interesting. So it looks like they're trying to do something a little bit different here. There's kicks. Looks like there's kicks. There's weapons. There's like little bats, wiffle ball bats. It look like, and you can walk up and walk left and right.
It always makes me wonder what other shows might have had games in development that never saw the light of day.
It's interesting it never came out, but I figure that, well, cut to the 3DO hardware would set the world on fire. But once you got to 96, that's when arcades really started to mellow out a bit.
It's true, and I think it's actually more to what you basically just touched on. I think it had more to do with the property would have been fine, and I think it would have made money for the people who would have done it, because that was right at the height. I mean, if we're talking 96
was the height.
That was the height.
Yeah.
I think this has far more to do with Atari than it has to do with anyone else.
That Atari didn't want to back out of the arcade business.
They just didn't have the cash to dump into this anymore.
Wonder if this would be able to run on somehow get the software running on a regular 3DO. That'd be interesting.
3DO.
Well, if it's 3DO based hardware,
I'm sorry. Yes. Okay. Sure.
I don't know if this is a ROM board or like a disc.
Probably a ROM board.
But a ROM board that somehow just uses a 3DO processor.
That's possible.
Interesting. Very interesting. So check out there's a YouTube video. I'll link to it. There's about 23 minutes. There's characters from the show here. Beavis has a whip here. There's like a bonus stage. An interesting bonus stage here where they get on Beavis and Butt-head. The animation's fantastic, by the way. It's like directly from the cartoon.
I want a bonus stage where they tried to buy nachos with counterfeit money, because I think that was. Did you ever watch any Beavis and Butt-head?
I do, but I don't remember much of it.
Okay, I didn't care for it a ton as a kid, but there were certain aspects of it that were hilarious, and there was one episode where they really wanted nachos, so they photocopied dollar bills and then cut them poorly out of construction paper. But what made the joke hilarious was they're trying to pay for the nachos with this fake money, and the guy's like Beavis or Butthead's like, how much did you say? And it was like $2.25. So they pull a photocopied quarter out and try to show.
All right, that's pretty.
But whatever.
Beavis Butthead doesn't get much credit. It was actually pretty clever.
Yeah.
People get on. Oh, it was sort of like this toilet humor. It really wasn't. It was more clever than you give it credit for.
Mike, I think everything, and actually I'm not a massive Office Space fan, but between Daria, King of the Hill, and Daria did Daria have a whole lot to do with Mike Judge? I mean, it's a character from Beavis and Butthead, but
I don't think he had much to do with that.
Anyways, between Beavis and Butthead and King of the Hill, while neither of them are my favorites,
King of the Hill was brilliant.
They're not my favorites, but I mean, I look at King of the Hill and I go, this was good.
So underrated. It was on the air for like 10 years. It won Emmys for best animated series.
It's like no one watched it until 5 years ago.
Yeah.